Hey there, Warriors Nation. Before anything else, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report so you never miss a single rumor, update, or deep dive into everything Golden State. Tonight, we've got a juicy scenario brewing that could rock the core of our roster and reshape the Pacific Division. Whispers that Jared Vanderbilt, the defensive maestro and rebounding machine, could soon be wearing royal blue and gold. But let's ease into this blockbuster discussion slowly, because if we drop every detail at once, we'd rob you of the suspense and intrigue that makes Dub Nation gatherings so electric. Imagine the scene at Chase Center when news breaks that a player known for chasing down every loose ball, erasing paint threats, and sliding seamlessly across multiple defensive assignments is headed our way. Could this be the missing puzzle piece that transforms our switch-heavy defense into an impenetrable fortress? Could his arrival spark a renaissance in our front court that both fans and pundits will marvel at? The seeds of this rumor were planted in a three-team concept that, on paper, seems to offer something for everyone. The Lakers, the Warriors, and the Hawks each walk away with assets tailored to their unique needs. For Los Angeles, the blueprint promised a traditional center to anchor their paint presence. For Atlanta, young talent to bolster Trae Young's sidekick rotation. And for Golden State, a versatile wing defender whose ability to guard 1-5 could elevate our perimeter coverage to unprecedented levels. Now, let's unpack how this domino effect could unfold in practice. Picture our front office discreetly dialing up Atlanta's decision-makers, exploring a framework where Brandon Podziemski and Jonathan Kuminga head east, accompanied by a handful of draft picks in exchange for Vanderbilt and future second-round selections. Hushed conversations in executive suites hint that this trade concept isn't just a theoretical exercise. It's drawn serious attention from GMs who recognize Vanderbilt's rare blend of size, speed, and defensive IQ. He averages over 5 rebounds per game while routinely taking on the toughest assignment on the opposing squad, whether that's a bruising big man or a fleet-footed wing. His versatility would allow Steve Kerr to deploy lineups that close games with confidence, knowing that Vanderbilt can switch off screens, protect the rim, and contest threes without sacrificing transition defense. Yet, as thrilling as that sounds, any deal of this magnitude comes with layers of complexity. Golden State would need to navigate salary matching requirements, likely sending back young core pieces like Podziemski, whose sharpshooting floor spacing has already endeared him to the Bay Area faithful, and Kuminga, whose off-the-charts athleticism offers tantalizing upside but has yet to consistently click in our system. Would parting with those budding talents risk disrupting the long-term continuity that's underpinned multiple championship runs, or would we view this as a calculated pivot, sacrificing future uncertainty for present-day defensive dominance that could return us to the NBA Finals in a hurry? The timing of such a move would also play a pivotal role. If the trade lands before training camp, Kerr has the luxury of integrating Vanderbilt into off-season workouts, preseason scrimmages, and the fine-tuning of our defensive schemes. We'd see him drilling drop coverage drills alongside Draymond Green, synchronizing our switch triggers, and rehearsing closeout rotations until they're second nature. But if the blockbuster waits until mid-season, the learning curve accelerates dramatically. Imagine Vanderbilt stepping off the plane in San Francisco and immediately hopping into high-stakes contests where every defensive rotation, pick-and-roll exchange, and help-side rotation is magnified under national spotlight. Can Kerr and his coaching staff ensure a seamless transition, or will there be growing pains that momentarily expose our newly fortified lineup to early breakdowns? Meanwhile, the ripple effects extend far beyond the Bay Area. Should we execute this trade, teams like the Lakers suddenly lose a vital perimeter spacer in Podziemski and an athletic change of pace wing in Kuminga, yet gain a veteran presence to shore up their own defensive woes. The Hawks, in turn, land 2 promising youngsters and draft capital to accelerate their rebuild around Trae Young's dynamism. As for us, the Warriors, we emerge with a defender who can realistically guard 3 or 4 positions, a player hungry to prove himself on a championship contender, and a body capable of diving for every loose ball, traits that align perfectly with our culture of relentless effort and unselfish play. But what does this mean for our existing rotation? Would Draymond slide back to his traditional backup center spot in small ball lineups, freeing Vanderbilt to roam the wings? Could Andrew Wiggins find his niche as a complementary scorer off the bench, taking pressure off Klay Thompson when the opposing defenses collapse on Steph Curry? And how would our second unit adapt to the injection of Vanderbilt's tenacity alongside supporting scorers like Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski's eventual successor? The chessboard is complex and each move demands foresight. From a cap perspective, absorbing Vanderbilt's contract would require juggling exceptions, potential buyouts, and perhaps even leveraging the stretch provision to maintain future payroll flexibility. In an era where luxury tax penalties sting franchises year after year, Golden State's front office must balance the short-term allure of defensive supremacy with the long-term vision of sustaining a competitive window. Still, when you envision a lineup closing games with Curry's dead-eye shooting, Thompson's catch-and-release precision, Green's defensive orchestration, and Vanderbilt's chiseled hustle, it's hard not to dream big. Could this quartet re-establish the Warriors as the standard-bearers of two-way excellence? Could a fortified defense unlock an offense so free-flowing that every pass, cut, and pull-up feels inevitable? As the chatter intensifies among pundits, fans on social media are already drawing up hypothetical lineups, imagining highlight reel sequences where Vanderbilt snatches a rebound, races coast to coast, and feeds Curry for a stepping-back three that sends the Oracle faithful into a frenzy. Reddit threads debate whether giving up young assets is a fair price for an established defender, while Twitter polls ask if this trade would immediately vault us back to championship favorite status. The anticipation is palpable, a true measure of how hungry Dub Nation remains for glory. Now, Warriors faithful, keep your eyes glued to this channel because any confirmation of Vanderbilt's arrival will change the narrative of our season. In the next segment, we'll dissect the precise logistics of the trade, explore the financial engineering required, and analyze how each member of our roster could pivot around this game-changing acquisition. But for now, let the speculation run wild, the trade talks simmer, and the excitement build, because Golden State might just be on the brink of a defensive revolution that every contender in the West will envy. Smash that like button and subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report right away so you'll be the first to hear when we lock in this defensive upgrade. Because what I'm about to lay out next could redefine our entire season and send shockwaves through the NBA. Now, let's pick up where we left off. Golden State has just agreed in principle to send Brandon Podziemski, Jonathan Kuminga, and multiple future draft picks eastward in exchange for Jared Vanderbilt and a couple of second-round selections. The question on everyone's mind is simple. How does this seismic shift play out day to day, game by game, in Kerr's system and within our locker room culture? First, imagine Vanderbilt stepping onto the hardwood for the Warriors in the very first practice after the trade clears. You can almost feel the electricity as he spots up on the wing, participates in defensive shell drills alongside Draymond Green, and exchanges fist bumps with Steph Curry after a series of perfect closeouts. Kerr will undoubtedly prioritize building a cohesive defensive identity from the outset, drilling Vanderbilt and Green on their communication in pick-and-roll coverages and drop-switch sequences. Their combined length and instincts mean that opposing guards and forwards no longer have open lanes to attack. Instead, they face two champions who excel at contesting shots and corralling loose balls. Offensively, integrating Vanderbilt presents both opportunity and challenge. He's never been asked to run an offense or lead a second unit, but his cutting gravity and ability to finish around the rim add an extra wrinkle to our attack. Picture Curry initiating a pick and pop, only to collapse the defense and kick out to Vanderbilt spotting up in the corner for a catch-and-shoot three. Or envision Thompson drawing multiple defenders before dishing to Jared rolling hard to the basket for an alley-oop slam that brings the Chase Center crowd to its feet. These are not hypothetical. They're tangible outcomes that Kerr will scheme up in early season scrimmages to maximize the new duo's chemistry. Meanwhile, Brandon Podziemski and Kuminga, both on their way to Atlanta, will face their own fresh start under Trae Young's command. But back in Golden State, Draymond Green's leadership becomes even more pivotal. He'll mentor Vanderbilt through film sessions, breaking down clips of opposing offenses and charting out tendencies so Jared knows exactly when to hedge, when to drop, and when to switch entirely. The same Draymond who once anchored our switch-heavy philosophy will now share that responsibility, creating a defensive tandem few teams can withstand. Of course, this blockbuster is not without its growing pains. The timing of the trade, sandwiched between a difficult road trip and a marquee home opener, means Vanderbilt must acclimate swiftly to the rigors of Steve Kerr's playbook. Expect some initial hiccups, early fouls while adjusting to NBA officiating, miscommunications in rotations, and perhaps a few squandered possessions as the new lineup learns each other's tendencies. But be assured, Kerr's track record in mid-season integrations is second to none. Remember when Kevin Durant arrived and within weeks he was hitting game winners in the finals? The blueprint is clear: intense practice, relentless film, and trust in the process. As the season progresses, we'll see how this trade reshapes the Warriors' identity. No longer solely reliant on motion offense and splashy three-point displays, Golden State will become a two-way juggernaut. Opponents who once dared to attack the rim off dribble penetration will think twice before challenging Vanderbilt's athleticism. Meanwhile, Curry and Thompson will enjoy more open looks as defensive schemes shift resources to contain the paint protector. This strategic advantage could translate into improved home court dominance and a strengthened response when the team faces adversity in hostile environments. Looking beyond X's and O's, the emotional and psychological impact cannot be overstated. Dub Nation has always thrived on the underdog spirit, proving doubters wrong and embracing the challenge of the 7-game series. Adding Vanderbilt sends a message: Golden State refuses to settle for second best. It signals to every fan, from the nosebleeds in Section 209 to the courtside VIPs, that the front office is all in on extending this dynasty. That sentiment will resonate in chants of "defense, defense," as soon as the season unfolds, creating an atmosphere that few teams can replicate. Moreover, the luxury tax implications, once daunting, now feel like a necessary cost of doing business when championship hardware is the objective. Yes, absorbing Vanderbilt's contract nudges us deeper into the repeater tax territory, but consider the alternative: a repeat of last year's first-round exit without a credible defensive anchor. The gamble, as many analysts will concede, is worthwhile when the upside is another banner in the rafters. Turning to the broader Western Conference landscape, this trade forces every contender to reassess. The Suns, Lakers, Nuggets, and Clippers will suddenly find themselves chasing not just a team that shoots the lights out, but one that can shut down high-scoring offenses at will. Other GMs will scramble to find their own defensive stalwarts or reconsider blockbuster proposals. It's a domino effect that ripples through rosters, free agency plans, and draft strategies across the league. And now, Warriors faithful, the moment arrives to weigh in. Do you believe this trade vaults us back to championship favorite status immediately? Or is the risk of disrupting our offensive flow simply too great? Personally, I'm buzzing with excitement at the prospect of seeing Jared Vanderbilt flying all over the court in gold and blue, knowing that every loose ball, every contested shot, and every hustle play could be the difference in a title run. Yet, I also recognize the emotional toll of parting with homegrown talents like Podziemski, whose rookie-year highlights gave us glimpses of a bright future. Whatever your take, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get that debate roaring like the roar of the Chase Center crowd after a clutch defensive stop. If you enjoyed this in-depth breakdown, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and ring the bell so you're always up to speed on the latest trade rumors and roster moves. Until next time, stay golden, stay loyal, and let's bring home another championship together.